Evening.
Hey up.
Hello.
Hiya.
Oh, the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm.
Sounds so exciting. Is it Tuesday again?
It is.
Is it? Shit, does that mean we have to go on that YouTube thing and do that stupid bloody show?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Although
Fucking
the
hell.
resolution is taking a complete dive.
Yeah. Chris has stopped moving completely, to be fair.
Yeah, it's going well.
So-
There's all four of us here today.
Yeah.
Some of you have my address, so like, if I stop breathing, just call an ambulance.
I was going to say, you had stopped moving, to be fair.
Hang on. I would like to know how this whole Cass is punctual. Oh, Cass is really sorted this shit out. Who holds the button? Who holds the fucking button? Who is in charge of pressing that live fucking button? Who's the one that's on time every fucking week?
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, that ginger prick sits there in the corner and he gets all the credit. Bollocks.
Oh. I mean, like, I think I was
Fuck
really
you,
more like
Badger.
20
Fuck
to 8.
you.
Why do you... Cass, why are you dressed like a...
And I've knocked me drip tip off.
Cass,
Yeah.
Cass, why do you look like a Hawaiian farmer?
I don't abide by any kind of fashion rules.
I've got drip to pee, can I have mine?
What?
It doesn't... What?
What?
I've got
Where?
drip to pee, can I have?
You got where? Oh, was that a drip tip?
Yeah.
Mark, he's got a drip tip you can have.
Cheers.
There you go.
They come free with every pod, mate.
I know, but I've just knocked my fucker off. And it's rolling around on the
I'm
floor
wondering
somewhere.
whether you can take these apart and put in fucking new wicks or something.
No, because you've got to melt the plastic.
Is it heat sealed together? Or are you just saying this because you've got 10,000 pods you need to shift?
No, not at all. I've got...
He's got 10,000 pods he needs to shift.
No. I wish I could refill them, but I've not had to yet.
How long have you been running that
Should we
same
start?
coil?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I mean, after a week, I was trying to debate whether mine tasted shit or not. And I couldn't decide, so I just changed the pod anyway.
Did it taste any better? That's the question.
Well, yeah, obviously. The thing is, I find that this is a bit like the Clito, where you have to open it and release the air bubbles every now and then.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's because of how thick my juice is.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Well, how
But
thick
every
is
so often I have to do it, and I was trying to do it the other day on the way to work, and I dropped the fucking little thingy-majiggy. So I was having to try and like hold my finger to seal off the juice tank and press the button at the same time whilst driving. It didn't work very well.
Oops.
I'm really jealous. I want one like that, Mark. That colour with that fucking sea breeze shit on it, whatever it's called.
It's nice, isn't it?
You missed out on the special deal, didn't you?
What special deal? No one told me about no special deal.
Your words were, that's more than I paid for. That's less than I paid for mine.
Oh yeah, but I've got even specialer deal if I wanted another one.
Oh.
A specialer deal.
Special
Special
deal,
deal.
yeah.
I like special deals.
I don't really need to. I need more pods, but I've got a wholesale account with someone who said they'd sort me out if I bought some. So I'm going to wait and see how long these last me though, because I can't afford bread at the minute.
You can't afford pods.
I'm not sure you can re-wick with bread.
Well, I'm a month into a new job, aren't I? And everyone knows,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, in
And it
other
took
words,
me a month. Well, that's it. Well, I have been, but I've imagined. So check this. I had a month delay in my PVG, which is like the Scottish CRB check. I had a month delay in that, so I'd finished the job. I had a whole month without working. I had a month in hand to work. I got some of the pay, but it was nowhere near enough to even cover bills. And then my old boss owes me a lot of money that I haven't got. So
Lovely.
I'm kind of in a position where it's like, do I, don't I? And the answer is, don't I? This is why I was hoping I could rewick this bad boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just literally broke it trying to pull it apart. So the answer, I'm guessing, is no. Wondering if I break the little bits off, whether I can still fit it in.
If you break it, will it fit in?
No, the bits I've just bent. I wonder if I snap them off, if I can still get it in.
Oh, I see what you mean. All right, okay, I'm with you now. I wasn't sure for a minute what you're on about, but
How are we all doing anyway?
Tired, grumpy.
oh,
How are you?
Excellent. I am fine.
Hawaiian farmer, you.
Yeah.
Chandler
Oh,
looks
dear.
like the Beatles. Chandler looks like a member of the Beatles before colour TV, so you didn't actually know what they were wearing, but you knew it was loud.
yeah.
I want my MTV.
That's not the Beatles. That's Genesis.
Oh
Try
my.
again.
Dire Straits. Have a word with yourself, boyo.
As my missus will attest, my music knowledge is appalling.
How could you get Dire Straits wrong?
Chandler's
Not
washing
probably
situation.
rolling in his grave.
Chandler's washing situation must have got to Dire Straits for him to wear that ensemble.
I've been told to put the banner back, but
Look,
it
I've
was-
even got a matching handkerchief in the pocket.
Chandler, it looks like you've been kicked for a charity shop and come out wearing whatever you landed in.
I was given this shirt at work to put on. You don't want to know what's on the back of it.
On the
Oh, I
company
do want to know what's on the back of it.
Go on, give us a look. On the company that rhymes with Ploder Blown, aren't their
Yeah.
colours red?
Hang on, I can't hear you now because I just took me.
Well, look
I
at
hope
them
it's an
nippy.
orange tea.
suck it in.
Like,
Can you see it? Because I can't hear it.
you're a consumer czar. I like it.
Red line consumer team in an orange shirt.
It's red.
Hang on. Turn around again. Turn around again.
What fucking country is that red?
Turn around again.
That is red. It is bright red. I don't know why. On my camera, it's coming up red, but for some reason on Mimo, it's coming up orange.
It
Oh,
is-
damn.
you look
do.
like B&Q's logo.
It does.
You look like you work for an opposing phone company by the name of.
Andrew's just said Home
That's it.
Depot employee. Home Depot and B&Q are exactly the same thing in the UK,
Are
aren't
they? So say, he looks
Okay.
like he works for Orange, not Vodafone.
So I take it. This shirt looks orange on YouTube as well.
they? Yes.
Probably.
Okay, so why is it on my camera, on my monitor camera that I've got, it is deep red, but on YouTube it's orange.
If you drew triangles on your nipples and a squiggle on your gut, you look like a pumpkin.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's proper orange.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, your top makes Cass's beard look brown.
I want to know
Oh,
what color
dear.
Cass's beard is in his monitor. Is it like it's probably like bright pink or something?
No, it's actually the same color. It actually is.
Oh, okay.
Orange.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you.
Oh,
But his
well.
is more
Oh,
like a
dear.
deep orange. You're like a, I don't know, 60s van orange.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough insulting Chandler's out. Yeah, exactly. Mark's headphones are red. The cable and the B, that looks red.
Hang
Hang on, this
Do-
mug
do
that
they
I've
look
got
red?
is red. What color's that?
That's orange.
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 Oh, for fucking
I
hell's
think
sake.
Chandler's colourblind.
That's red.
No, it's
No,
orange.
That's orange.
Right, okay. This is interesting.
Right, Chandler.
Sainsbury's basic baby wipes. What? That is orange. What colour's that?
Orange.
Orange.
Oh, for God's sake!
Stand up, mate.
Stand up.
Yeah. Ironically, it looks more red in my phone than it does in my eyes. But here, I'll send you a picture, mate.
Amazing.
I think Chandler's colourblind.
Okay.
If that's
I can
not
see.
right,
I can see. Right. You know the little monitor thing. Right. Hang on a minute. Look, watch. I'm gonna. There we go. This is gonna be so.
no,
pants.
Chandler, you need to turn it around the other way so we can see your screen and the camera can see you, you egg. Yep, still orange.
No, that's not what I'm trying to show you. Oh man. Right, hang on. Trouble is now I've done that, my shirt's in the way. There we go. So now you can't see my face. So I'm going to do that. Take the picture, and
just turn it around and show us, mate.
Yeah, but it'll still come up orange. It won't matter. It will still be orange. This is just right. Just carry on. Carry on.
What colour is this light?
Sorry.
What colour's this light?
Well, I can't see you at the moment because it's only me on the screen.
The light under my hand.
The light under your hand.
Red.
Red.
Oh yeah.
Red.
Right. Okay.
So, for fear of not talking about vaping, what are we vaping on?
Who's that directed at?
Anyone. Mark.
Notice how we all rush at once.
Yes.
What are we vaping on?
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out. I am vaping on the Lost Vapor Iron still.
Nice.
2 weeks in, still on the same coil, 0.5. Yeah, not got a bad thing to say about it, to be honest. Really, really happy with it. I know there's been a lot of griping about the price.
Well, we were talking about that last week, weren't we? So
Yeah. But no, I'm happy with it. It's all I've used for the past couple of weeks, so.
banging. Anyone else?
Hang on, let me finish.
Oh, you're not done.
Fucking hell. I run off
He
a
always
wee week
shoots
to...
his load too quick.
Huh?
He always shoots his load too quick.
So I've heard.
What the fuck are you showing us, Chandler?
What?
What is that?
It's his arse.
It looked like it.
Anyway, I'm also using my SQ with the... I don't even know what I've got on top of that. Armour? No. Haku with a bell cap from... I don't even know where the cap came from. Some bloke.
Chris Munoz.
There we go, it's a Mun's cap. What's the battery life like, Mark? I'm happy with it. It's usable for day to day. I find some days I'm having to give it a quick charge when I get home at night, but all in all, battery life's pretty damn good.
I found that I can use it for a whole day and then use it all night, or, you know, before I go to bed and then in the morning, and then I plug it in the car, and within sort of 20 minutes, it's back to blue again.
Yeah.
It's got a fast charge on it then.
I don't know, because I don't know what amp my car charger is. I think it's 2 amp, but I'm not sure. All I know is that it concerns me because on the display of the car charger, because it's also a Bluetooth thingy as well. What the hell? On the display of the car charger, it tells me the battery voltage of the car, and it keeps dipping from 14 to 12. So
Amazing.
I'm concerned about that.
In the SQ, I am vaping on salted caramel cheesecake from Home Slice from TYV.
How is it?
It's salty.
Ha! There you go. Look, that's what my screen looked like. See, red.
Orange.
Orange.
Yeah,
For
look.
fuck's sake.
Look, come here, come here, come here.
Yeah, but that's
Camera.
not as orange as that one.
Anna, what colour's his hair?
Purple.
Good answer. Thank you. I'm going to shut that door for us. I need to ram it. Kick the bottom. No, lift it up and kick the bottom. Oh, I'll just deal with a breeze, mate. You go in.
Let's pass it on. So, let's go for Chandler and his colour blindness.
It's all right. I can't work out how to get shot of this bloody picture now. Oh, terrible technology, fancy technology, and picture. Delete.
Cass, what you vaping on?
One of these.
I've still got my Berserker, which I absolutely love it. I've literally used nothing else for the last week. I haven't even re-wicked it, and it's still going strong. That's perfect. And instead of the drag, I've got the e-cigar VT75 DNA mod, which I love. Yeah. And the thing I love about it is it uses a 26650, which, as far as I'm concerned, is like the mini disc of the battery world. Like, it was a great idea, but it never really caught on, and stuff moved way quicker than it becoming popular. But it's actually a fairly decent battery. It's got a fairly decent battery life, and because I'm only running it at 15 watts, I'm getting at least a day and a half out of it, where if I run it anything higher than about 30, it gets down to about 80% battery, and it goes low battery check. So, but that's because the DNA chips aren't optimized for the extra battery life of a 26650. It just thinks it's an 18650 inside.
Okay.
Which is, well, yeah, I mean, you can go into eScribe and you can choose whether it's a LiPo that you've got in there or an 18650, but you can't choose whether it's a 26650, which has a much higher milliamp power. So it's, it's fairly decent battery life, but on this it looks sick because it's black and gold, and it fits really nicely. And this is actually one of the most comfortable mods I own to hold and vape. That's Heisenberg.
It looks green.
Yeah, it's sort of a greeny bluey-ness. But yeah, that's Vampire Vape's Heisenberg, 12 milligrams. What else have I got on me today? I'm literally mouth to lunging at the moment. The other thing I've got is my trusty little Gusto pod, and that's pretty much what I've been vaping the last week. I haven't really been in the mood for mechs or clouds or drippers. Pardon?
Okay, Gusto pods.
Yeah. But I refill them a couple of times so I get the most out of each pod, because otherwise you came through the pod and the coil's still good. You can get about 4 full refills, and you can fit about twice as much in there as they put in there. It's capable of holding about 3.5 mil, and they only put 2 in.
Who makes it?
It's the device is made by Aspire, but it's been commissioned by Element e-liquids.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah,
They look quite good. I mean, I'm a sucker for a big pod system.
Honestly, this is absolutely brilliant. Like I said, you get the pods. They're not the cheapest. It's like $8.99 for 3, but you can refill them like 3-4 times. And compared to the juice that they actually put in the pod when you get it brand new, if you refill it, you can fit like twice as much in there. And depending on what juice you use, I mean, I suppose if you filled it up with any other salt liquid, you'd get like maybe 5-6 refills out of it. Because it's Element, the coil's dead in 4. So, but it's good for me. I like it. Battery lasts about 2 days. It charges in about half an hour, and it's fucking tiny. Really, really like it. So I've just been mouth to lung all week since I found this Berserker. It's just, I haven't really been in the mood for blowing big clouds and running at 0.1 ohms with alien builds in a mech. I mean, I've been using my Vulcan a lot during the day, but evenings, work time, been using this. Haven't found the need for anything else.
You do kind of get into this mouth to lung malarkey, don't you?
Oh, 100%. And the thing is, I think I'm now so used to 12 milligram and 20 milligram nicotine that 3 milligrams doesn't even touch the sides.
So what, you're on 12 in your mouth to lung?
Yeah, 12 in there.
Okay.
Although once I run out of Vampire Vape, I'm probably going to bang some salts in there and see how that goes. But actually, mouth to lung works with that throat hit. Whereas...
Have they e-scribe for Mac yet? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I've got e-scribe on my Mac.
They didn't have it last time I actually bothered programming DNA board.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. I've had it since I've had this mod.
They didn't have it initially, did they, for quite a while?
No.
But not having a Mac, I didn't care.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this pod is that it's a restricted lung hit, so you get that throat hit because you're lung hitting it. I think if it was a mouth to lung, you wouldn't get any hit off it at all.
Fair dues.
Yeah, but that's what I'm vaping this week. Nice and simple, keeping it easy. I've been so busy with other shit. I mean, I've got about 4 reviews queued up that need to be filmed and edited and uploaded, and I know Sam from Knights Vape sent me a load of stuff that is waiting to be filmed, which should be done hopefully the end of this week. So if you're watching, Sam,
have you got a chance to try any of that?
I was going to say, have you tried it?
Man. Yeah, man. I've tried a few bits. I tried the cherry Coke, which I don't want to give any opinions away now because obviously I'm going to be reviewing it in a video, but so far it's looking fairly good.
Cherry Coke's the only one I'm not trying yet.
Yeah, I don't think I yeah, I didn't expect it to be bad, but I didn't know how good. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was.
I'm always dubious with cherry vapes though, because 99% of them are shit. So I'm always a bit dubious. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't like, oh, this is horrible. But like I said, I'm going to keep my opinions quite close to my chest because otherwise, what's the point in doing a review video? But I just want, if Sam, if you are watching, then I haven't forgotten and I haven't run off with your juice.
Yeah, yes.
Sam's a good lad. He'd never think that.
Yeah, he's alright,
Sam. Who else? I think Mark's sending me some liquid, aren't you, Mark?
I am.
So that I'll be reviewing that when that comes through the post. I've got some new bits coming from Nova Vapes, although UK Mail have failed to deliver my parcel from them 3 times, which is impressive. What's that?
Stop being out.
Oh no, it's not that. It's that it says it's delivered, and then what happens is the signature and the address location are both not my signature and not my house.
Yeah, we had that. My sister ordered 2 tablets, like Samsung tablet or something like that, and she had a thing saying it had been signed for and delivered. And she was like, excuse me, there's 2 fucking tablets missing here. Nothing's been signed for, nothing's been delivered.
Amazing.
So they kept saying that it had been delivered and showed the signature, which was just a squiggle, and no one knew who the fuck it was. In the end, she had an argument with them. They agreed that if the seller contacted them, they would reimburse them for the insurance amount. So they got their money back. They sent out new tablets. Then one day, about 3 weeks later, she... bearing in mind, there was about 1.5 foot of snow. She had to go out the back gate because the front where they'd walked all over it was really icy. She went out the back gate and tripped over a fucking package. They chucked it over the back fence, and it was just laying in the snow. It'd been there for like 3 weeks.
Did it work?
Yeah, they worked fine. So they put 4 tablets, and she got I think they refunded her for like, I don't know, the half of the price of one for all the hassles. So she paid like, I don't know, 110 quid or something for 4 tablets.
Yeah, well, UK Mail basically tried to fob me off multiple times, saying that the driver was in the location, then he wasn't in the location. Then it took them 4 days to supposedly get hold of their driver to find out what he was doing, and then they got so pissed. It just wouldn't. Well, this guy wouldn't answer his phone. And then what was hilarious about it was that when I did get an answer out of them and I called them out on changing their story, they just started feeding me the line of, "Oh yeah, you've got to talk to the seller. You've got to talk to the seller," and they just kept hanging up on me. So the Nova Vapes, the guy who runs it, is going full ham on them, and yeah. So, but we're waiting to see what happens. But he's like, "Fuck it, I'm sending the next one Royal Mail."
I bet. I can almost guarantee if your review is shit, he's going to come to your house and murder you.
Well, the thing is, I can trust the Royal Mail because my postie is one of my customers.
Oh, I finished something interesting today. Do you want a sneak preview?
Go on, what was that then?
I'm probably not supposed to be showing you, but I'm going to show you anyway. Where is it? Where is it?
Was this one of your audiobooks?
No.
the button.
Oh.
Hmm?
Oh. Oh, indeed.
Oh, very nice.
So hopefully they'll be here in time for Expo. But I don't know if I'm going to be going now because I wasn't going because it was my stag do that weekend. And then I was going to be going because I thought my stag do wasn't actually going to get done and sorted. And then I've been told today that it is on and not to bother booking Expo tickets, Expo flights because I'm not going to be here. So I don't really know what's happening. But I'm hoping someone will have a few prototypes in hand to show them off at Expo anyway, even if I can't make it. But I will take the reins and say I am vaping on, not a billet box.
Not a billet box. Orion.
Yeah, Ryan. I got one. I don't know when I got it. I'm gonna check.
I love it.
I'm gonna check when I actually got it because it'll give me an idea of how long it's been since I've not used the billet box. 2 seconds. And for those of you who know me, it's been a long time. So the 2nd of October it arrived. What's the date today?
9th.
Nice.
So a full 7 days. I had the billet box in my pocket for the first day. And then I cleaned out the borough. And it's been sitting on my kitchen side ever since. Now that is remarkable in itself. The main reason for this is because I dropped it for the first time in 3 years. I dropped it when I had a leather case on it for 2.5 years. I took the leather case off, and then about 3 months in, I dropped it, and I've dented 2 of the corners. So I'm fucking fuming. But
Yeah.
I really like the fact that I can fit this and other shit in my pocket because it's that small. Normally, I'd have the billet box in there and nothing else because I'd be worried about things scratching it or worried about how much. Yes.
I don't. I want to know if this is just me that does this. Do you keep losing it in your pockets?
Yeah.
What, the billet box?
No.
Or the Orion?
The Orion. I keep patting my pockets. It's like, what the fuck have I done with it? And
I do that with this.
Jeans. A little condom pocket in your jeans next to the main pocket. Is that little pocket?
yeah,
Don't tell me it fits in there.
I keep sticking it in there and then forgetting it's there. And it's only when I bend down to pick something up, I'm like, oh shit, what's that stabbing me? And it's just in my pocket.
The Orion fits in that dinky little pocket.
Put it this way, Chandler. I mean, my fingers are quite chubby, but
2 fingers. Shit. That's well tiny.
yeah.
and if you do it behind mine, it's gone.
Where's your...
It's actually gone.
I mean, this is like. I'm trying to think of something of a comparable size. It's a bit like a matchbox and a bit.
How
Like
many people?
Itself,
How many viewers now are going like this with their fingers just to work out how big it is?
I mean, without the pod, it's about the same size as a matchbox.
Yeah.
Wow,
God.
that's fucking tiny.
It is, and it's
What
metal.
size is the battery on it?
I don't know, but as I said, I get
950.
2 days out of it. It's metal as well, so it's got some weight to it. It doesn't feel like a little cheap piece of plastic. It feels
Hang on.
solid.
We all know the size of a business card.
Yeah, standard business card. Oh, go on, have you
Standard.
got one?
Let me go big.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
smaller than a business card.
Yeah, this would probably be a better perspective for all you vapors out there. That's a 10ml bottle of juice.
There's a big 10ml bottle. Jesus. So that's my business card. It's smaller than that.
There we go.
Yeah, I like incense, so this is why I have a lighter. But that's a clipper lighter for size comparison.
Oh. Bloody hell.
Yeah, that thing is tiny.
And it's fucking nice. The vapor, to be fair, is definitely more of a restricted lung hit to lung hit.
What?
like it's not like you have to practically close the airflow off.
Mine's off. Mine's completely closed.
Ah, right. I'm going to shut mine all the way off then. Yeah, I've got mine as close as I could.
Close it.
Closed.
But you've got lungs of steel. I know your type of mouth to lung vape, Mark. It's like the tiniest hole ever.
Actually, that's even better. That's even better closed off.
It's a really nice vape closed off, isn't it?
Yeah, for the last week I've had it so it's like this. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the potato camera.
Yeah, just a little gap.
Yeah, see it there?
Close it off.
I have now. It's a different pod. I mean, to be fair, it's... I don't know what they put in this fucking salt, Nick salt, but I find that this doesn't actually last as long in a normal coil anyway. So I was going through a BVC coil every 2 days.
Fucking
or
hell.
every 3 at a push. So I don't know whether it's quite sweet or what. It doesn't taste overly sweet, but also it doesn't really taste of a lot more than nicotine, to be honest, because it's 45 milligram. But yeah, it's really surprised me. I thought it was going to be another gimmicky pod system. I mean, I've had the Vonel, I've had the Juul. I mean, the Juul I couldn't fault. It got a bit spitty if you left it for a little while, and the battery life was terrible, but the vape from it was incredible. But I've had the Vonel, I've had the... What was the one that come with the first one to come with empty pods?
The Zell2.
The what?
The Zell2.
Before that, I can't remember what it's called. It looked like a Vonel, but the pods came empty. And they were a bit square.
Me pod?
No, before that. Way before that. I'm talking around when the Juul came out.
Diddy, I'm waiting for the XR3i and the Cosworth.
But yeah, hey,
Chris, can you turn your audio down a smidge?
what, like you speaking?
Your speakers. Speak. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting feedback.
I don't know if
But saying that, talking about Nick Salts, I'm quite excited. Have you seen TYVs?
Are they doing salts now?
Yep.
They are doing... there's a range of 8 being released, and I think that they're due any day soon. I know I've got my order in.
I have actually asked Dale for some, but he's not got back to me.
Did I also tell you that we're doing ours as well?
Nick Salts.
We're actually working on the vintage range in Nick Salts.
What about
Oh, my
rhubarb and
word.
ginger gin?
No.
Oh,
Oh.
you fucking ruined my life.
I want the dandelion and burdock because that'll be awesome. That's an awesome mouth to lung, dandelion and burdock.
Jimmy, I gave Jimmy came up to Leicester on
Oh, Friday?
Friday, was it? I don't know, one day.
Oh, he did say he was in your office, but I didn't believe him because he put on Facebook at my friend's office, and I don't believe he's got any friends. So
Yeah, I gave him some cream soda concentrate to because he adores the cream soda.
Oh,
he
he
felt
gets
base.
through that.
So sent him away with some cream soda concentrate for him to have a play, and yeah, I think he's loving it.
Cass, what do you think of that picture you just sent?
Interesting.
Look at the second one.
I'm sure this is great viewing.
Yeah,
Right,
okay. Yeah,
Come on, you would.
you would.
Anyway,
I'm really impressed with it.
So-
I actually drove for about 16 miles today behind a car with the number plate Orion BF. So I don't know whether that's a sign they're going to be coming out of a squonker. But
the chipset lends itself.
the DNA Go is brilliant.
Have you seen the size of it? The physical
Yeah.
size of it?
It's
tiny.
fucking tight. But the thing that gets me is that actually Kangatech had a very, very, very similar concept with their K-Box. Do you remember that?
Oh, the K-Box, yeah, yeah.
It was like a little silver thing, and it had like 3 white dots on it. And you press it once for 1 set of power, press it again for 2 dots. It's almost the same. It's just color-coded with a single light. I like the fact you can lock it so it stays on however you vaped it. But also, did you know you can test your batteries, how much battery is left in it?
Nope.
If you press the fire button and the button together, it lights up and shows you how much battery life it's got.
Mine says nothing.
Hold down the little button and then press the fire button. No, hold down the fire button, then press the little button.
The light goes out.
What? I'll show you. Look, yeah.
You've got a Duff one. I think what you need to do is send that one to me.
Press it. You press it and then press. Wait. Press the fire button, then press that. You can't even see it. Oh, my fat finger was in the way. Sorry. So. Oh, you still can't see it. It's not bright enough.
Hang on. Lost Vape Fiesta Escort. This is sounding like poor Mags.
Yeah, Dave. I did actually try and get a picture of the back of the car for that purpose. Things that remind you of vaping that aren't actually vaping related. But we were at traffic lights and I was that far behind him, you can't actually see the number plate. It's just a blur.
Even when you zoom in?
Even when you zoom in, yeah. So, but the thing is, because I was at a distance and I was stopped, I took the time to sort of swipe the camera up, click, and then put it back down again. So I disagree with people that use their phone while they're driving. Really fucks me off. But I was stationary. But I wasn't going to then move the car forward with the camera on because it goes against all my principles. So I thought maybe I'd got it because it looked close to me, but not on the camera. Why is Dave Grohl not finished yet?
Because he takes a very long time.
Unlike you.
Hey, do you want to see what I found today? Well, found it over
the orange Guantanamo Bay scrubs on.
But look what I found.
What the fuck is that?
I'll take it out of the ridiculous rubber sleeve.
I
Is that
stick
the
50.
50?
Oh shit! Wait a minute. Are you doing that for your phone?
No, I've got a second camera.
I can do that through my phone, I think, and then I can show you my. Oh
PP.
god! So it's asking me to.
I thought it was better than me going like this.
It's asking me to update my phone. Not now. Not now.
There we go. iStick 50 watt. I found it in a box in my garage. Basically,
thinking it was new technology.
No. Basically, we moved house 2 years ago, and it's in a box in the garage that's been there at least 2 years because God knows how long it was in the box before we moved. And I took it out, and it was effectively fully charged. And
That's because you didn't use it when you did have it.
I must have left it. Yeah, I must have charged it before I put it away. And then I put the saver on the top. And still works. It's nuts. I've suddenly got a 4,400 milliamp hour battery. It's great. But there you go. And it's a lot smaller than I remember it being. It's yeah. Anyway, there you go. So I found that one. And I was going to ask you something, Mark.
Ooh.
About juice mixing. If anyone's been mixing.
Oh, is this what you were saving for the show?
Yeah. This is what I was saying. Because I've been making a juice. I've been making a yeah. There you go. I thought that would be yuck. Right. So I've made a juice, and it turns out I've been trying to make coffee cheesecake for bloody years and failing abysmally. And I actually had another crack and then thought, oh, I wonder what this is like mouth to lung. It's bloody awesome. So if I put that there, you can't see it now, can you? The colour of those wicks is now that was a clean wick this time yesterday. So I've been using coffee essence, which it's in the drawer. I was going to show you. It's almost black anyway. The colour of the juice that's been mixed a day. So that's the colour of it. That's the colour of it to start with. No, it tastes great, but my coils are just filthy. It just oozes black stuff when you change the coils. I don't know if you can see this on there. This will be really pleasant. When you just there you go. That's nice. I was just wondering if you knew of a half decent coffee flavour that isn't going to turn my wicks black.
There is
TYV's barista.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want some of this already made.
Let me pull up my database. 1 second.
I don't work out where this is.
Because I've got. I'm actually wondering how TPD compliant that coffee essence that I've got would be.
If you're using camp coffee, probably not.
What is it?
The juice. Hang on.
No, what concentrate is it?
I got it from Darkstar. The concentrate is in this drawer. Right, my camera is just going to go tits up in the air in a minute. Hang on. Ready? There we go. So it's there. Flavor Apprentice. I mean, look at the color of that concentrate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is it that my iPhone camera looks better than my fucking normal camera?
Because it is.
And it's Flavor Apprentice coffee. And I've only used 0.8% of that, so it's not a huge amount, but you can see how it's coloured the.
Try espresso from DEA. Espresso from DEA.
Right, cool. Espresso DEA. I'll try that one. There we go. Okay. I'll give that a go. See if that works. There you go. That's what I was going to ask because I've been mouth to lunging that juice. It's been great. It's coffee. It's got caramel cheesecake in it, and it actually is quite nice as a mouth to lung. But it fucks my coils, basically.
Looks as though Vape ER's got it.
There we go. Wonder Flavors Brazilian. What's that? Yeah, Dave, that is very dark. That is just like ridiculous. But that's how it came when I bought it. That is no darker than when I bought it. That's exactly how it looked when it came.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Cass,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to go with your story time reading?
Yes, absolutely. Right, so give me a second. Let me just find this thing because this was amazing.
Shall we set some very very slow music?
Yeah, I've got this as a little calming intro to it.
Clouds.
Yeah, just leave this on while Cass reads out the story.
Right, I'm just trying to find the sodding thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Right, so.
Wait, 2 seconds. Oh, and no, not Kinect.
Have you got some sad walking away music?
Yeah, like the end credits to the Hulk.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't, does it? No.
No. Right. So
Wasn't that
on a
their
vape group,
song?
I don't know
Maybe.
what it was. It was yeah from
Radio
Radio 1. Yeah.
Okay, so we on a Facebook group that shall remain unnamed, and a name that will be unnamed because it's completely unpronounceable. Mark decided to find this, and he posted it in our chat, and it is a story. So buckle up. So this bloke, whose name I don't know, he starts off with this post. He goes, "It's funny that I, who sees vaping as God's gift to humanity, can't vape anymore. For an unknown reason, my body is rejecting it. Important to note that no physical harm was done to me, brackets, to the best of my knowledge. Furthermore, I visited 3 separate doctors, a family physician, a neurologist, and a psychiatrist, but I'm quite convinced that what I feel was somehow caused by vaping. Since yesterday morning, I'm not vaping, and only one of the effects has disappeared. Let me give you a short overview of what happened to me, so if you meet anyone suffering from..."
Can we just pause there for a second? So bearing in mind, he says that only one of the effects has stopped since giving up vaping. So, sorry, just pointing out there. Carry on.
Yeah, only one of 3. So let me give you a short overview of what happened to me. So if you meet anyone suffering from similar maladies, you can let them know. I tried almost everything, including all medical options. I mean, that's quite a broad statement, all medical options, because I didn't want to stop vaping. That I even believed a doctor that it was all a series of anxiety attacks. As someone who suffered from anxiety attacks, I know how they feel, and it's not only that. Perhaps it came together with one, but that's not the point. Back to the topic at hand. It all started about a month after I started using MiniFit. Suddenly started getting cramps in one leg. I'm trying to find the thing. Oh my god, the posts are out of order. Oh no, they're not. They're not. Suddenly, I started getting cramps in one leg. At first, it was sure because of the AC or a bad move I'd made. After a few days, I felt the same thing in my left arm, and I still didn't take it seriously. The day after, my head felt completely numb, and I probably went into an anxiety attack since I literally couldn't get enough oxygen or take a proper breath. All this happened in the Take Air store in Holon. I mean, come on. He couldn't get enough breath in the Take Air store in Holon.
Maybe they didn't have enough air to give.
Yeah, they were just taking it all.
The way the story's going, I don't have enough fucks to give. But carry on, sorry.
I thought it most likely happened since the pod system I used, brackets smock, was leaking, and I got a nicotine overdose from all the juice that got into my mouth. Straight away, I went to buy a proper tank and a mod. I got cramps in my legs, and once in a while, I also thought that it might be because I'm sensitive to PG and that the juice I used was 50-50. I also tried full VG juice in the new tank with nicotine and without nicotine, using nichrome or stainless steel coils in wattage and TC mode. I just tried to eliminate all possibilities. Each time I would try to tell myself that the issue was resolved, brackets it would go away for a day or two, but it was eventually always back. 2 days ago, I went to take a tank from a friend and I had a few puffs. In the morning, I woke up with my whole body aching, with all the side effects appearing together. Left arm, leg, headaches, dizziness, feeling seasick, and for a dessert, I had a major anxiety attack. I decided to leave it all. I can't say for sure that it's from vaping, but that is the general feeling I have. I have to say that there is a great community here, and I still know that vaping is 95% safer than smoking, but unfortunately, it looks like I'm in the 5%. End of story. Now, I find that interesting because this guy clearly has some issues going on. Now, whether vaping has exacerbated existing issues or they are the cause of any of his issues is obviously remains to be seen, but it's a hard one because obviously this guy's got issues and I don't really know whether I want to shred him for such a crazy post or whether I want to actually feel bad for the bloke.
For one, the least of his issues is this cramping. It's the fact that he's willing to like go on such a mad ramble to a community of people that don't actually know him is a bit mental. But as I said earlier, when we were sort of discussing it a bit, it could be that he has an allergy to something to do with vaping. He could be allergic to the cotton. He could be allergic to the metal that's in the tanks that he's using. He could be allergic to the liquid. He could be allergic to anything. But the fact remains that if his symptoms persist after he stopped vaping, then I'm guessing it's nothing to do with vaping.
I mean, he mentions
if you eat a peanut and you have an allergic reaction, you never eat a peanut again. You never have an allergic reaction again. Guess what, mate? You're allergic to peanuts. It's that simple.
I mean, things like the dizziness and the being like feeling sick and stuff. Well, that's just e-cig. I mean, clearly everyone gets that. You have too much of one in one hit first thing in the morning, and everyone feels a bit e-cig. It's a common thing. Things like legs cramping and. Of course it is. Well, of course it is. I just love that the first thing he links it to is
apart from heroin. Too much heroin is killing you. Too much heroin is death.
Well, exactly. But you know, I love that he just immediately links it to vaping, and that's the issue. I mean, I've got a customer that comes in that has dropped his nicotine completely out. He's on a zero nic now because he believes it's affecting his heart condition. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. The doctor doesn't seem to be able to tell him whether it's true, whether that's the case or not. But he's convinced that the more nicotine he has, the more his heart condition comes back.
You see, that's a problem. Do you know, if you convince yourself enough that something is making you unwell, it will make you unwell because you're going to give yourself anxiety. If you think that nicotine is making your heart race, then you've probably conditioned your body to make your heart race with the nicotine. Well, whether it is or not, but if you convince yourself that nicotine is making your heart race, nicotine's a stimulant, isn't it? It does alter your heart rate.
Of course.
I had a bit of a situation like this the other night. I was convinced I was having a heart attack. Now, partly because I'm fat and I'm expecting to possibly have a heart attack, it probably played on my mind a little bit. But I was convinced I was having a heart attack, and then I just let out this really big fart, and I felt better, and that was it.
Hang on a minute. I want to know how the hell a fart down there gives you pain.
I think it was trapped wind. But no, I had a similar situation with a guy who bought a Pandora from me. Now, he bought a copper Pandora, and he messages me saying, this is about, bear in mind, 6-8 months after he bought it. He messages me and says, your tank, which pissed me off to start with, has made me sick. I said, what? He goes, your tank's made me sick. I've been advised by my doctor to stop using it. I was like, what's happened to it? Well, he says that it's getting hot and it's heating up all the green stuff inside, and then it's giving off bad fumes. I said,
green stuff?
What? I said, what green stuff? He said, well, after I use it for a week or so, it goes green. I said, have you been cleaning it? He says, yeah. I says, what with? Well, I just wipe tissue around the outside. I said,
oh, for God's
are you
sake.
off your fucking head? I was like, for what?
That's Chris's customer service. Are you off your fucking head?
Well, the guy was actually a bit of a dick. I did try to explain it to him nicely, and he was really, really rude about it. As if, like, he knew exactly what he was doing, and I was the idiot because I was selling faulty product. And I said to him, do you remember when I sold it to you? And he says, yeah. And I said for you to buy a bottle of Brasso. He said, yeah. I says, what did you do with that bottle of Brasso? He goes, oh, I gave it to my dad. I said, what? I didn't tell you to buy a bottle of Brasso as a gift for someone.
Give it to you.
I once had a bloke in the shop. This bloke had like an ego pen style thing, right? And his way of vaping it was to put it in his mouth up to the battery, right? So the whole tank in his mouth up to the battery.
You know what he got up to on the weekends?
Well, the thing is he was like, it's not really working properly. Will you try it? And he passed me this thing, and it was well, firstly, the mouthpiece was blocked with mouth crud, which was fucking disgusting.
Did you try it?
But
Did you try it before you found that out?
no, no, I didn't. I don't try customers' vapes as a general rule. But anyway, so I was like, right, let me pull it apart and have a look. And as I unscrewed the tank from the battery, not the base of the tank out, but the tank from the battery, I pulled it apart, and this thick orange gunk, liquidous gunk, poured out from in between the two. And I said, how long have you had this, mate? And he was like, about a year. And I said, have you ever changed the coil or cleaned it? And he went, you have to clean them? And I went, well, it goes in your mouth, right? And he was like, oh, okay. Well, why is it not working then? And I went, well, look at the end of that. It's blocked. Well, what's that? That's stuff from your mouth. Oh, well, can you clean it up? And I was like, mate, that's a hazard. I'm binning it. I ain't cleaning it. And he bought something else in the end. But the point being is, it's like, that was fucking nasty. I actually, as soon as I saw that mouth crud, like gloves on, like if I'm taking this apart, I'm putting latex gloves on. Like some of the
latex gloves.
Now, the reason we actually had latex gloves is when we used to sell 24 milligram bottles, they always used to have like residue. And when we were putting away like 300-400 of them every week, you used to get massive nick headaches from handling all the bottles. So we used to have gloves.
Where were you buying your juice from?
We were buying it in such bulk that every now and then one bottle in the 30,000 bottle crate would leak and get all over the others. But it was just a very slight amount of residue.
See, I was in a vaporized once. I can't remember what happened. I think I broke my tank and I just needed something to get me home. I had that situation before, and I've resorted to buying like not blue, but something that was from Big Tobacco, and I really kicked myself for it afterwards. So I ended up deciding I'd actually go and pay vaporized prices and get myself a little tank just to get me home. And we get in there, and there's this guy. He's come in. He's obviously knows the bloke. He's obviously a bit dodgy, but you know he doesn't know what he's doing. He wants to give up smoking, which is fair enough. But he was saying it's not working. It's not working. I said, what's not working? He said, oh, this mod, it won't turn on anymore. It won't turn on. He says, will you fix it to the bloke? And the bloke says, I don't know. Sorry, mate, I don't really know what I'm doing. I says, look, I'll have a look at it. So he gives me this mod. I open up the bottom, and this battery falls out with no wrap on it.
Amazing.
There was like a quarter of a wrap left on one of these batteries. The other one was actually in good nick. But they were clearly two different brands. One like a semi-decent battery that was in good nick, and one of them a terrible battery in fucking battered condition. Clearly he had had a single battery device for so long, and then bought this dual battery smock thing or whatever it was, and he just bought a second battery and stuck them in there together. So I said, look, part of the problem is this battery is fucked. I said, you need to buy some wraps and fix it, or bin it and buy a new wrap, buy a new battery, because this is shit. He says, I've got another battery. He said, I wasn't actually using that one with a rip on it, but my other battery wasn't working in it either. He says, all right. So let's have a look. So he pulls out this second battery, which was the same as the better condition battery. So obviously he had bought a pair. Pulls it out of his pocket after pulling out a bunch of keys, which fucking blew my mind. He passes me his battery. He says, for some reason, this one won't work either. And I had a look, and it had a fucking dent so deep in the end of the battery, it looked like he'd taken like a leather punch, you know, like you'd put holes in a belt with, and whacked it with a hammer. It was so. Honestly, I don't know how the battery was still functional. Well, in the mod, it wasn't, because it had a little dimple on the bottom, and it was that deep. The dimple wouldn't even touch the bottom of the battery anymore. I said, wow. What the fuck happened here, mate? He goes, oh, well, I had this this mod, and it turned out it was a clone Able, and he just kept tightening it because it wasn't firing, but it turns out that it was locked. So he just tightened it, and it was just pushing more and more and more pressure on the battery until the 510 practically dug a hole through the battery.
Amazing.
I says, you need to stop buying stuff. He's like, yeah, I've got too much, and I said, no, You need to stop buying stuff because you're going to fucking kill yourself. I said, keys and a battery in the same pocket. The damage to this battery, using that one without a wrap. I said, if you'd have stuck that one in your able, I said, you'd have fucking blown your hand off. And he was like, oh. And he looked at that other guy and he says, the guy that was in the shop, and he says, I came in a couple of weeks ago and he didn't say anything to me. So
Amazing.
Apparently the bloke in the shop hadn't even corrected him. But, you know,
Vapes aren't people. Vapes aren't dangerous. People are.
No, that's it. Anything is dangerous if you give it to an idiot. And this is what I tried explaining to so many people that come at me with that propaganda side of things, where they've seen a couple of videos of a mod blowing up online and they come at you with this, oh, they're dangerous, aren't they? They blow up and burn people's houses down. And I come at them with the same argument every time. You wouldn't give an idiot a bottle of bleach or a blowtorch or a fucking, you know what I mean? You wouldn't let a complete moron operate a car. You wouldn't let a complete moron look after you. Do you know what I mean? Well, no, but do you know what I mean? You wouldn't go and drive a car. Well, you shouldn't go and drive a car until you've been certified as safe to use it. You've got a license to say that you're safe to drive a car. The same way, I didn't progress through my vaping stages from a CE4 to anything else until I felt that I was qualified, that I knew enough to use the next thing, because I knew that there was a potential for it to be dangerous.
But looking back, Chris, do you not scare yourself of what you used to do?
Oh yeah, I had ultrafire batteries. So
ultrafire batteries on 005 running series.
No, well, no, not that bad.
Ultrafire 18350s.
I did a lot of research, so I made sure that like my coils were even number of wraps and that they weren't touching. They didn't look particularly nice, but they weren't touching anything, and the wraps were even. The pin was long enough for anything that was hybrid. I made sure all of that, and then I counteracted all that preparation by using a battery because it cost me £3 on the internet, and that's where I went wrong. But at the same time, I was more cautious. I've done a lot of stupid stuff, experimenting. I've used, 18 gauge fucking wires at 0.07 and 0.06 and 0.05. But, I was aware of the fact that what I was doing was potentially dangerous. So I didn't hold the button down for 45 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't. Do you remember the guy on YouTube with a towel?
DJ,
that was it.
And he was drilling out RDAs to give him more airflow because he was putting like fucking 80 amps for a fucking like a plume veil, and he was drilling out holes because it was producing that much vapor and he couldn't vape it. So he was drilling these massive holes in, using them on these stupid videos where the mods were getting so hot he needed a towel to hold them, and then he was sticking the fucking RDAs on eBay. And he was like, I've left the building, and it was like 2 wraps, like 16 gauge wire, like he'd gotten it off a fence, and he was fucking selling it to the public on eBay.
Basically, a hard short in an RDA. That.
Well, yeah, exactly. Tell him what are you fiddling with now?
That is my right. Okay. You may wonder why I've actually still got these, but. I've put them in my cupboard to because I'm lazy and I never get to. I don't want to throw it in the bin. I want to recycle it. So I can't get that to stay. There you go. That's my first battery. It's a Samsung 18650 26H, and I bought this. It's got the brand label on it that I'm not going to show you. So I was using this with 1 ohm builds, and all sorts. I googled it. I googled this battery. This was I'd had the VT5s for ages, but I thought, I wonder what amp rating this one is. I went on Mooch's website and had a look. And it turned out it was 4 amps.
See, this is an old box of batteries.
4 amps.
Now,
Well,
bearing in mind, this is just full
See,
of
that
old
triggers.
batteries. I've got probably about 80 of them in the house. Some of these are really, really old. Like, do you remember when 25 Rs were blue, Mark?
Yeah, yeah. I've still got some.
Yeah, that's a Samsung 25R, and it's got a nick in the wrap, and that's why I stopped using it. So I mean, this battery's probably back in the day, you can tell them how much a battery was used by the amount of arc marks on it. Now there are a couple, but there's probably a hell of a lot of life left in this battery. But I didn't have any battery racks. There was a nick in it, so I just chucked it in the box. Now, that's probably about 4 years old, that battery. So I was sort of conscientious of my safety back then. But I think the technology was so new, to me anyway, it was sort of starting to become mainstream news. It was available, and that's when all the initial CE4s are blowing up, all the cheap Chinese CE4s. So I was always conscientious of safety when it comes to batteries. But yeah, some of those batteries are really old. I've thrown away. Oh, there we go. Yeah. See, I think mine is around the same time. I think mine was just before they started sticking those silver labels on them.
18500. 1100 milliamp hour.
What brand is that?
E-Fest.
Yeah, I've got some E-Fest 18350s in here.
Remember the 3500 amp 3500 milliamp 40 amp E-Fest that they try to peddle?
18350 3.7 800 milliamp hour.
Nice.
So we've got these 700s, the E-Fest 700s. I don't think this has even been. This might have been used once.
This red battery is in the box, ready to be recycled as well. Can you see? It's actually leaking. There is some liquid all inside. It looks
orange to me, mate.
Yeah, it is red. I put a red battery wrap in it, but it's. I don't know if you can see, but it's. The darker color is actually liquid under the wrap, and that's not e-liquid. That's coming out of the battery somewhere.
Amazing.
So they're waiting to be recycled, but I think I probably need to recycle those sooner rather than later. Yuck.
It's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone seen about them banning flavors in San Francisco this week?
Oh, they're going all over the place now. That's San Francisco and somewhere else, isn't it?
Most of California, to be fair. From what I gather, and I don't know a huge amount about it, but I think that the legislation that they didn't want to pass passed, and not only you're not allowed to sell it or manufacture flavored e-liquid in San Francisco and various other parts of California, they're actually trying to put import and export blocks on flavored e-liquid into the state of California and specifically San Francisco. So it means they can't even get around ordering it online. Whether they then try and stop people, I mean, they can't stop. I mean, the states in the US don't have borders that are checked on the state, so you could feasibly drive out of state, buy it, and drive back in. But I think it's a weird one. I don't know why they were able to get away with it, and how they're now going to police it. And it's like the TPD. Everyone said, "How the hell are they going to police the TPD?" We've not had anyone from either the MHRA or trading standards or anyone come and even check our stores. I know a couple of stores did get checked, a couple of months after the TPD came in, but in San Francisco, I mean, it's huge. How the hell are they going to police not only all the stores within the area, but all the manufacturers? And the numbers are sizable. It's the amount of manufacturers that come out of San Francisco. But also, how are they going to police all the online sales? Unless, of course, it becomes illegal for companies to ship e-liquid to San Francisco, and companies that you find a big name of companies, and then the postal service have to start vetting that sort of stuff. Do you see what I mean? I don't see how it's policeable, whether they bring the legislation in or not.
Yeah.
But it's a massive hit because it means that these companies are either going to have to get out of the state and go somewhere else, or we just won't see them anymore.
See, the thing is, I spoke to a friend of mine, my business partner out in the States, who I deal with the Pandora stuff with. I've not really been able to have a sit down chat with him for a long while, but I needed to ask him a favour. And we'll just start talking about random stuff, and I just said, "How are things going?" And he said, I'm just trying to get it so we read it verbatim. He said, trying to look between insults and other conversation. Over here, things are grim. Vape sales are way down, and everyone is in love with their Nick salts. So consumption is down overall. It's okay though. I've been wanting to get out of the vape game since last year. I don't understand how businesses operate over there, meaning here, with how high taxes are. He said, over here it's hard enough. And he owns quite a quite a well-known brand. His e-liquids are fucking incredible. And even he's feeling the pinch. Nick salts are taking over. Everyone wants a mouth to lung, and people that have spent years developing high quality flavored high VG cloud chasing liquid just can't doctor the recipes enough for it to be able to keep up. Excuse me.
And that's the thing with Nick salts, is that the suffering or the backlash of that is people use much less of it. Before, people, I knew people that would go through 2, 3, 60ml bottles a week, coming in every other day, buying these liquids, and now they'll buy one 10ml bottle of 20mg Nick salts. You don't see them till the week after. So
I'm on 45, and I'm finding that I have to fill this pod up every 3 days. The last week I filled it up fully twice.
But it goes in circles. That's 4
millilitres of liquid in a week. Now, I used to use about 50ml a day.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, and it's going to go in circles, though, because this year especially, it's mouth to lung and Nick salts. Next year, it's going to start moving back to cloud chasing. It did that the year before, and it did that the year before that.
It's going to be something else. There's going to be someone's going to release something incredible. And you see it happen with the squonk industry. Someone released something incredible. The half was incredible. The plug was incredible. They released a few really, really good squonkers. Now, squonking's been out since I started vaping. I remember when I used to shop on Fast Tech, my last order from Fast Tech was 2015. So, it's been a long while since I've even looked on there. But back when they had squonkers on there, but they just weren't a thing. And it took for someone to release something so pretty that no one could ignore it. And it became the new thing. It became, a fight, a race to see who could release the best squonker as quickly as possible. And the market was flooded by them. And it went from, you couldn't get hold of a decent squonker for love nor money. Frankie started it, sorry. Not half, but half, carried on.
Yeah, Frankie.
But you couldn't get hold of a decent squonker, a name brand squonker for love nor money. And now people can't sell them for half what they paid for. It's very
because of the pods. Pod systems have taken over. I mean, what we're talking, like the best part of maybe 10 months of squonking, and now it's pods.
You see, I've been on pod systems since the Juul was introduced. And the problem is that all of the ones that followed the Juul just never could keep up. They couldn't compete. They released the Von Earl, and it was good, but it spat in your mouth. If you left the pods even unopened for too long, it was leaking out to the terminals of the outside of the pod. It was flooding, even if it hadn't been used. And the Von Earl was the biggest competitor for the Juul at the time. And then they released a a couple of others. I can't even remember the names, and it was just a shambles. No one could compete with the Juul. The Juul wasn't available in the UK. You couldn't backdoor pods because the companies like Grey Hayes that managed to get hold of a load, once they were gone, they were gone. And I was hooked at that point. I was using 50 milligram and couldn't get hold of it anywhere. And I was buying full Juul kits just to get the 4 pods that come with it. And it was fucking ridiculous. And then I found a website that sold salt-based nicotine, e-liquids. They were the only company I could find in the whole world that did it. And it was for this pod system that I can't remember the name of that come with empty pods. And you had to put your own liquid in it. And they wanted to replicate the Juul. And it wasn't far off, but it wasn't amazing. And then that sort of died out. People stopped giving a shit. And then they released that Soaring Air. Do you remember that, Mark? The one that looked like a credit card?
Yeah.
Me and Mark got one at Expo a couple of years back. And that sort of started reigniting the spark. We saw a couple of really good ones at that show that we never saw again. The concepts were really good. I think we really discussed one of them, didn't we? And then never saw it again.
There was one that was really good, and he wouldn't even sell us because they were just prototypes, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they were prototypes. I've never seen the actual product come to fruition. But the problem with every single one of those systems was that the pods were specifically made for that device. And no one was selling compatible pods. No one was selling additional pods. You either bought it while you could, or when it was sold out and all the disposable pods were used, there was fuck all left. So then the Breeze came along, and the Breeze done a very terrible job of what the pod systems were doing. It was a lot easier because you just filled up the tank with a coil in it, but it was terrible. It didn't do what it needed to do. And it took for... I'm trying to think of what it was. There was something that really sparked the pod system off. Again, reignited that flame. I can't even remember what it was at the time. But then that became it. Every man and his dog, the squonking is starting to die out, and every man and his dog was releasing a pod system. And that's where we are today. It's taken for Lost Vape to come up with this bad boy, Aspire to come up with their Nautilus AOI, and that's a bit spitty and a bit has its problems. What's that funny one that sits at a slant?
Oh, the Sprite.
Sprite. The Sprite's good, but the market for BBC coils from like the K3 tanks is limited. The Sprite sort of resonated with me a lot because I was using a billet box for all this time with the BBC coils in it. And because I couldn't find a pod system that was comparable to the Juul, that's what I've been vaping for 3 years. I've been vaping a billet box, which no one could get hold of for love nor money for a long, long time. I was fortunate enough to be in the right circles, and BBC coils, because no pod system could deliver that nicotine, especially the high 50 milligram, 45 milligram, in a way that didn't make you sick. It was all too powerful, too airy, and it just didn't do what it needed to do. And then, now they're starting to catch on. They've reduced the airflow. They've made the pod systems better. And I think Orion is a step in the right direction. I really do. I'm really passionate about pods. Mark will know I've been an advocate of Nick Salt for a long, long, long time. Way before I ever joined the show. You know, you're talking about 3 years ago. And I really wanted the Me Pod to be what the Orion is. I really, really wanted it. It looked beautiful. I was fortunate enough to get a prototype of it. I really wanted the Me Pod to be what this Orion is. And Orion has done it.
I went to the pre-release ones we got. I went to use it the other day, and it don't work.
I can't even find mine. I found, and in the kit Andy gave us, it had 2 pods, didn't it?
Yeah.
I put the first one in. The vape was so bad that I lost. I can't find the Me Pod, and I managed to find. I found the other day the second coil I hadn't even taken it out of the packet. That's how bad the first coil was. And I found the second coil, and I really looked for this Me Pod to give it another go, to see whether I was just being picky or... I don't even know where it is. I don't even know where it is. And that shouldn't happen. The Me Pod is being raved about. People are fucking posting millions of videos of them, you know, using it all over Instagram. And I don't know what it really is standard.
I think the Me Pods, I think it's kind of in between. It's not a mouth to lung and it's not a direct to lung. It's kind of in between. So I think more direct to lung vapors could probably relate to it.
See, the thing is, I knew that Andy, I can't even remember what company what he owns, but they were the distributors of the Me Pod. And I knew that he was a massive advocate of Nick Soles. Yeah. So I presumed that was going to be the answer to my prayers. It was going to be the Nick Salt pod device that actually lived up to the expectations. But by the time Andy got to using the Me Pod, he'd cut Nick Salt out. He said I was even more addicted to it than when I started. He said, so he went to 12 milligram. And so his opinion of it was based on 12 milligram 50-50, and all I vaped was 45 milligram 70-30. So I think that's part of the reason why it was such a letdown for me. So I had this great expectation, and it just didn't meet it. Someone else want to say something? My jaw's out. I don't normally have this much of an input, but I'm really passionate about Nick Salts and pods. I think that should be the way people give up. That should be the system that people buy to give up smoking. 20 milligram pod system.
Vape Logs just said, I had Me Pods for 3 days, hated it, went to the Just Fog Mini and absolutely loved that instead. Is that a share, Cass?
Yes, it is indeed. So I've just pulled up this thing about the FDA threatens to pull. This is 12th of September, so it's about a month old now. And basically, it looks like the reasoning behind all of their bans is simply because the Juul specifically is being used by teenagers, because it seems to be very easy to get hold of. It's something they can hide from their parents. And I actually saw an article it's called like Mums of America or something, about their kids Juuling, which is basically, using Juul pods. So here we go. The Food and Drug Administration told 5 major e-cigarette manufacturers to address youth use of their products in the next 60 days, or the agency could require them to stop selling flavored tobacco pods that appeal to children. Now, surely it doesn't come down to the producers of these products. It just comes down to setting the laws and the regulations on things like IDing kids, making sure, if maybe only sell them in shops so that they can only get hold of them within so they can only get hold of them from bricks and mortar shops. That way it's like kids drinking booze. They're going to do it. They have been since the beginning of time. So banning it ain't going to change nothing. But I think they're going at the wrong people with this. I think going for the producers and banning flavors ain't going to stop kids vaping, because they still think vaping's cool. They still think that it's something that they should be doing. 20 years ago, it was smoking. Even 10 years ago, it was smoking, is what the kids did to be cool. They didn't ban cigarettes. How many times have you walked into a corner shop and had some kid come up to you going, mate, you get me 20 fags? Or, can you get me a 6-pack of booze? How that's happened so many times just to me. It's not nothing you do will stop kids getting their hands on it. The amount of people I've had saying, my 15-year-old is smoking, I want him to give up cigarettes, I need to buy him a vape kit. There's loads of them. So they're going to get it, whether they... one kid came in, he goes, do you have to be 18 to buy to buy vape products? I said, yeah. He goes, okay, I'll go online then. It's not hard for them to get it. Banning the flavors ain't going to change the availability of them.
Well, here's the next thing that the FDA are looking at. Look, they're considering banning online sales. So they're thinking, right, let's ban online sales, and
it's just going to go underground.
Yeah, you'll be getting them off the dark web. That's a little bit weird, but there we are.
Or perhaps is that not a blessing in disguise for the industry?
How do you mean?
Well, we know what the industry is like at the moment, and you've only got to take a look at a handful of the said Facebook groups where if it costs more than £2 for a 60ml, then it's a rip-off. So what would happen if we did do that? What happened if they did stop online sales and you had to go into, let's say, a registered vape shop to buy your liquids?
When the TPD came around, I said this as an alternative, right? Instead of limiting things and making it really easy to go down your local Morrison's garage and get yourself a bottle of double drip and a vape kit that doesn't work. In Europe, to buy cigarettes or to sell cigarettes, you have to have a tobacco license. You have to be a tobacconist. You can't just be a corner shop. And you look, I know in France and Spain, you look for the Tabac logo, TABAC logo, which is like a brown logo with the yellow writing. If we had similar to bar licenses, but for vape liquid, right? So you had to have a license holder, you had to have licensed employees, you had to have paperwork that followed where it came from. Basically, just copy the booze industry, because that way it's heavily regulated. That way you can control the amounts you're selling it in, you can control who you're selling it to, and you know that when you go as a consumer into a shop with fully licensed premises, that the product you're getting is not only legit, but that you've got that guarantee of a quality product and a quality service. And I think that is what needed to happen, as opposed to just go, yeah, let's just ban it all. It's like you're saying, having those premises. If you ban online sales, it gets rid of cloners. It gets rid of God knows how many online Facebook groups. It gets rid of your bathtub mixers. It gets rid of so many. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would also get rid of a few good companies.
Sean's just said in chat, I would go broke. But I know, Sean, you've got a bricks and mortar anyway, haven't you? So,
I think Sean sells in bricks and mortar shops. He's got his products in certain shops.
I thought he had a shop too.
And I'm not saying this is the way out, but it is a way out. And I think if you can clear out the mountains of terrible companies, I mean, how many Facebook groups are you in where every other post is literally, oh, I've just ordered from this website, are they any good? And then you don't know. It takes away all that uncertainty. And what it would do is it would encourage people to open bricks and mortar shops. You want to buy Sean's product, you go to that part of the country where Sean sells his product. It means it ups demand, it makes it more exclusive, and he can put his prices up, which is not necessarily a great thing for the consumer, but if it's something they really want, then they'll pay it.
Looking at some of these comments about the FDA, obviously we're commenting on the FDA. FDA aren't taking responsibility. LabWorks, the FDA does not run the internet. Completely agree with you. Completely agree. However, they do have so much control and so much say over
what's legal or not legal to be sold.
Yeah,
you got to separate what can be sold and what is legal to be sold. You can sell anything on the internet. What you're allowed to sell is what they control. What you can sell is what they can't control. Pirate Bay is a good example.
Yeah, LabWorks. My business is all online. LabWorks. Are you from the UK? I'm trying to work out if you're.
Too expensive here in Berkshire to start a shop up. Yep, granted.
But Sean, I know. Matt Emery, why in God's name do we need more regulation? Please, not more. I've been vaping for 5 years and never set foot in a bricks and mortar shop. And that's fair enough. That is the decision you make. You like to shop online. But I think what Cass was saying was that. What were you saying, Cass?
I'm not saying that buying online is a bad thing. What I'm saying is it would clear out all the cowboy sellers, all of the uncertainty with buying vape gear online. It would get rid of the Amazon fakes, the eBay fakes. It would get rid of all of the shit. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be an absolute tragic loss to the reputable retailers to those who are doing a good job, making a good product, and rely on their business. That would be a tragic loss. But if you could somehow clear out all the crap and make sure that those bricks and mortar shops you're going in aren't being run by an 18-year-old teenager who needs a Saturday job, and actually someone who is licensed, who knows their product, and that what you're getting is something that is at a government level certified, how could that be a bad thing?
Yeah. Unless you've got the licensing, it's just not going to work.
There we go. Labworks is based in Australia, where Nick is illegal. Yet I sell internationally and design e-liquids for the US market. Okay.
So, can Labworks produce nicotine but not sell it in Australia, or can he just not produce any nicotine?
I think it's a bit like.
I think it's a lot like the UK. We can manufacture 12, 6, 3 milligrams in 100ml bottles and sell internationally.
I think it's a bit like Alexander Bukaj from e-apothecary. Their lab had to be away from the public, no public access. In the shops, they weren't allowed testers. You weren't. At one point, they had to charge for testers. Then they got clamped. So, like, you'd have to pay like $1, and you could try as many liquids as you want or whatever. And then they upped the regulations even more, so you couldn't even let people try the liquids. And it just become more and more compressed. More and more, you could sell to shops, and shops could sell it. You could sell it in your own shop, but you couldn't display it to people. You couldn't let people test it. It just became a fucking minefield.
I think Labworks. Sorry, I don't know your real name. I think we spoke about Australia. Was it last week? The week before? And obviously they've got the shitty
real strong.
Deal.
I think we should get. What's his name back on? G'day, Cants.
Bogan,
that's the one.
We'll get him back on.
I think we need
That'd be sick.
It'd be interesting. He's been on before, and I think it was way before a lot of the regulations come into place.
There we go. Thank you, Paul. So, Paul, they can import nicotine for personal use. Now, I know we get a lot of international orders, particularly on the Jeffrey side of things. And I've had a couple of people try to order to Australia. And because of the uncertainty, unfortunately, we cancel the order.
I think it's going to be a bit like how the UK is, because it's illegal to sell high nicotine in the UK above 20 milligram. It's illegal to sell tanks above 2 milliliters that are non-TPD compliant. But there's no law that stops you buying it internationally from a country that's allowed to sell it and getting it in the country. The difference is whether customers believe that it's for personal use or for sale. And if you buy 1,000 bottles of 45 milligram nicotine salt, they're gonna seize it. If you buy 3 bottles and a tank that holds 60 ml of juice, they're not going to give a fuck. And I've done that myself. I wholesale order 10 or 15 bottles of nic salt, and I just get it shipped from the States, and I've never had an issue getting it in. The problem is, if I wanted to sell it in the UK, that's when I'll be breaking the law.
Matt's just said I could freely buy 72 milligram nic online in the UK. Tanks over 2 ml capacity. The TPD is not enforced online at all. Regulation would stop that, so no thanks.
Do you know what? I think a lot of it is, and I hate to say it, but people want something for nothing. And this is where it becomes hard, because they see a pack of 5 coils for $8.99 or $9.99 from any reputable seller. Then they look on Amazon, they see a pack for $3.99, and they wonder why 4 of them burn before they even the liquid.
Well, people want. The thing was that when the TPD came in, what we needed was regulation of quality, but not limitation of size.
It's almost impossible, though, with regards to stock coils. It's almost impossible to tell fake stock coils from real ones. back when
I always say to my customers, coils, you don't know they're going to work until you try them. They are a dark art, and no, you just can't tell what they're going to be like until you've tried them. If you're buying them cheap, and this is what it is, people don't want the regulation.
This is where I disagree, because if you buy Aspire's genuine coils from Aspire, you use 20 of them and maybe one's a dud. You buy the shit ones off Amazon, you use 20 of them and maybe one works. But this really first started when the Atlantis first came out, because people found a way to rebuild the Atlantis coils. You basically built a coil around like a 1.5 or 2 millimeter rod. Then you poked the rod through both the wick holes. You drop so you put it through one, put the coil onto it, put it out the other. Then you built it in place so it held it right where the holes were, and you put your cotton through and cut it. That was the first coil that was big enough for you to rebuild. Then what happened was people started noticing that actually the coils were vertical instead of horizontal in the fake ones, or the other way around, one or two. I can't remember which one. And that was when people really first cottoned on to the fact that stock coils were being cloned so much, and that actually a lot of the ones they bought were fake. And it wasn't that the coils that they were buying were shit, or the device that had shit coils for it. It was that actually they were getting fake coils, and they were almost impossible to tell apart. And the smaller the coil gets, the harder it becomes to differentiate. The Atlantis, you can see by looking at it the difference, because it was so big at the time. But you know, like a little BVC coil or the Nautilus coils, they were small. They had a little mesh over the top. You couldn't really see into them. The packaging was near on impossible to differentiate, and it got wise to the fact that the scratch codes didn't work on their website, so they made their own website, and on the scratch code they said, to check authenticity, visit aspire.co. whatever, and it wasn't actually an Aspire website, and it basically said that any code you put in was real. And it became impossible for people to know, because they'd made their own website to authenticate their own fake coils. And it honestly, I've used the duds. I got them from a local vape shop. They bought them from a wholesaler in Manchester or Glasgow or something like that. And the coils, I couldn't tell by looking at them that they were fake. The only reason I noticed the difference is because there's a bevel on the bottom of a BVC coil that touches the plate of the billet box, and there was no bevel on the fake one. Well, there was, but it was noticeably different. But the quality of the coil inside that you could see, the packaging, the blister pack, the fucking foil on the blister pack, everything looked exactly the same. And the problem that you have is that actually Aspire have changed their packaging 6 or 7 times since they released that coil. So it's almost impossible to know which ones are the fucking actual Aspire ones anymore, because the packaging's different every time. The yellow's a slightly different shade. You know, the texture on the packaging is slightly different. And it really is a minefield. And it's not because Aspire's quality control is bad. It's because there's so many fakes out there that are so good that you can't tell.
But do you think it would be worth having some kind of system like, you know, when you go on a banking website, for example, and it's got, say, we are part of this, and this, and this is how we know, this is how you know you're real. Imagine if you went onto a vape site. Exactly, yeah. And you went onto a vape site and they had a logo that basically stated, we are the real deal. You have to pay a lot of money for it. You have to be checked out. But that way, you know that when you go onto a website like Next Day Batteries, for example, that, you know, you're going to get screwed over because it's not there. But you go on somewhere like Grey Haze or Yorkshire Vapor, then actually what you're getting is a good product. Now, don't get me wrong, there are slip-ups. My company bought a massive batch of batteries from a well-known wholesaler. Turned out somewhere in the chain, the wholesaler had been given fake batteries. And the batteries we then got were fake. It happens. They get in the chain. You know, it's a mistake. Yeah, but every other... Sorry?
The thing is, I was just agreeing with you. But the thing is like, if you've got a huge demand for X, whether it be coils, whether it be juice, whether it be batteries, and your regular wholesaler doesn't have it, you'll look for someone that does. And the thing is that sometimes you do come across these companies, but the problem.
But what if that wholesaler then had a regulatory badge that said we're a legit wholesaler?
This is where the problem happens, because this exact thing happened, and Mark will know this. When the TPD was announced and everything was going in full force and everyone was having sales right up to the closing time, 20 different compliance companies had come out of the woodworks and were promising that they could guarantee your products were going to be compliant for the TPD. And people were paying hundreds of thousands of pounds to have their products tested, retested, all different things. And there was no one to regulate what tests needed to be done in order for that to be compliant with the TPD, because even the people regulating it, the government, didn't know. They didn't know what it was that they wanted. They wanted it tested at a certain compliance level, but they didn't release that standard to anyone. So there was
this is why you get an independent company in the industry to regulate it, who have a government level connection. But then,
but that's where the government comes in. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be the regulatory bodies, but the problem is they don't have the collective knowledge between them to even fucking know what vaping is, let alone regulate it. And this is the thing. They only trust themselves to regulate it, but they don't have the knowledge for it to benefit anyone that consumes the products.
No, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's an idea, but it just would. I mean, I don't think it would work. And I think to lose online sales, I see this FDA banning online sales thing would only affect online sales from the States. It doesn't affect us here. And there's nothing saying that these companies can't sell online out of country.
But, and there's another but there as well, it really backs companies into a corner. It stops these big American producers from wanting to continue to produce products, because they're having to jump through so many hoops in order to release a product. It's just not worth their time anymore. And, you know, even when it comes down to like huge companies, the Juul had a massive policy for about three years. They would not sell into the UK. They wouldn't sell the product in the UK. They wouldn't sell the pods into the UK. And they got backed so far into a corner in the States that they allowed it. Now it's being sold by Vaporized. It's being sold by God knows who, because their market was narrowed so much into this fucking, like this apex where their sales couldn't, they couldn't get the sales that they were getting because the regulatory bodies were too strict. And it became that they had to then branch out to Europe. They had to go into the TPD compliance side of things because they just didn't have the market that they used to have. And Juul were the market leaders for a long time in pod systems. And with this big boom now, you'd expect it to be... A Juul kit used to cost 37 quid. 37.99 or 36.99, depending on where you got it from. And they were people that had backdoored it. So they'd got wholesalers in the States to sell it to them in the UK because Juul wouldn't sell it into the UK. That was the price, though. That was the retail price in the States. $40. Now, their prices have dropped. They're like 25 quid. They had to hit the UK market at a hell of a lot less margins than they had when they hit the US market. And it's because they had to compete with all of the other competitors that were on the market from when they released their product to when it actually became commercially available in the UK. And it's caused a huge upset because the people that were way behind the Juul were for the fact that it was a 50 milligram pod system, and it was brilliant at what it does. The 20 milligram pod system is almost a sellout. Do you know what I mean? If you've been refused, the UK were refused the Juul for so fucking long. Now that it's on the market, anyone that already had an interest in the Juul doesn't give a fuck about it anymore.
Keith nearly went a whole show. He nearly went a whole show.
I hope your next shit's a hedgehog. Look, I wouldn't mind, but normally I talk bollocks. At least I'm staying on topic tonight.
Yeah, true. I mean, Mark, how would online regulation affect you as a business? Do you think it would put you out of business, or do you think the cost of being regulated would put you out of business?
I think if I need to look at this from both sides, as a manufacturer,
Both as a wholesaler and a retailer, yeah.
Exactly. I think I'm thinking I'd say a good 90% of all our accounts are bricks and mortar. There's probably 10% that are online only, so it'd obviously have an impact if that was to come in.
But if the vaping Ofcom knocked on your door and says you need to give us £5,000 to join and £2,000 a month to be regulated, it'd put you out of business, wouldn't it?
It depends.
No, I'm on about for Vape S, not for the other side of things. I'm on about your retail sales only, because as any sensible businessman does, you keep your manufacturing and your retail separate, don't you? You don't plough all your money from the that you make from the manufacturer into the business, do you?
Yeah, they're all under one umbrella.
Oh, are they? Okay. Previously, they were.
So for me, the impact would be mainly the wholesale. We do a reasonable amount of retail sales on our juice side, but the vast majority of it is wholesale and distribution.
Yeah.
Would it impact the retail side, i.e. Vape-esque? Probably not.
No.
Not massively. Not massively.
So
do you think it would impact your ability to get products, though? Sorry, go on, Chandler.
I was just saying, if you added a collective £25,000 a year in overheads, that wouldn't affect you in any way.
It depends, because if it was only people that were paying this £25,000 a year that were allowed to sell, then no, it'd increase sales, surely.
No, I'm on about you
less competition.
having to pay £25,000 a year to be registered under this regulatory body. Because bearing in mind, as we've touched on many times this evening, internet sales are going to be hard to police. There'll still be people that won't be regulated. It'll still be selling. And the problem is the same thing that's happened now with short fills. Short fills had to be reduced in price to compete with the market that was available at the time. So what would have cost you 16 quid for a bottle of 30ml, now you can pay 16 quid or 16 to 18 quid for a decent bottle of e-liquid from a decent manufacturer that's like 60, 120ml.
You see, I think the whole, as much as I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off by this, I think a lot of the juice pricing has been knee-jerk reaction. Now, I disagree. I was talking about these Facebook groups earlier, and I know of a handful of manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors even, that are banging out £2, £3, £4 bottles of juice.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's done more harm than good, and I know it's great for the end user. I know it's great for the end user. And what people have got to remember, without bricks and mortar, without the bricks and mortar shops, without them stores, where's Judith gonna get 4 bottles of 18 milligrams tobacco every Saturday? If these disappear, and what will happen is eventually all these online stores are going to push out the bricks and mortar. The bricks and mortar will eventually go down the pan, which means there's no high street support. There will be no high street support, and the only place you can buy your juice from and get your advice from is online, and you know what online advice is like.
Well, absolutely.
A solid.
There was a lot of discussion when bricks and mortar were starting up, when you could only get your stuff online. They're going, yeah, bricks and mortar, it's going to be a passing fad because everyone's going to carry on getting your stuff online, and yet the bricks and mortar seem to be taking off.
I'm biased. Don't get me wrong. I've got a shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am biased, but we do have an online. We do have an online presence as well. So I've got both. I'm not.
If online was restricted and we couldn't sell online, the people that is going to hurt the most is going to be you folk like me, the hobbyist vapor, who goes, right, okay, I want the latest tank that's coming out. Where am I going to find it from? You go online and you have a look and see where you can find it from. Chances are your local vape shop isn't going to have the particular, not necessarily high end, but the particular mod, ATI, whatever it be that you're after. If you had literally had to go to the local vape shop, you'd have to go in and go, can you get me a Teifu H6, please? That's the one that I want. And
I mean, I'd say at least 60% of my customers are the people that come in and buy their 4 bottles of 18mg tobacco. Now, if not a higher percentage. Now, if we lost those sales both online, because we have a store, we have 6 shops, and we have a website. Now, if we lost that across the board on both the website and the shops, we'd go out of business next week. Because that's what I mean, we sell the premium stuff, we sell the high-end stuff, we sell the big mods, the pod kits, all of that, and that is a bonus. If we lost our small bottles of juice in the high nicks, if we lost those everyday customers because we didn't exist, especially in our online site, the amount of them that don't go online to buy it, we would go out of business.
Well, see, the thing is as well, you know, we're in a situation where if online sales stopped, then people like myself who live in the arse end of nowhere would never have access to anything. But then, on the other hand, if something doesn't happen about online sales, especially with these groups that are selling £3 bottles of 120ml liquid, all it's doing is fostering a vaping society that aren't willing to pay the value of goods. The fact is that it costs more. Someone who's got a huge overhead, you know, between a factory, a lab, compliance testing, the cost of bottles, the cost of ingredients, cost of labeling, cost of advertising, you know, it costs, in theory, on paper, it costs less than £3 for a 60ml bottle. But on paper and in principle are two different things. When you factor in the wages and the overheads and everything, it costs more than that to produce a bottle of liquid. But we're fostering this society of vapors where they're not willing to part with more than £4 for a 500ml bottle because Dave from down the road's mixing it up in his fucking bucket in his shed, and he's knocking out 500ml for £6, mate. Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem. Even premium brand liquid, there's still people selling non-TPD compliant 100ml, 120ml bottles for £2-3 online. And it's costing a whole generation of vapors. And those same generation of vapors are now the ones that people are relying on for advice. So when people say, how much should I expect to pay for a good bottle of liquid? People are saying £4, mate. £3, mate. What sort of coils should I get? Oh, well, I just put these bad boys in. And they show you a build that looks like their nan's built with a fucking knitting needle. The fact is that we are collectively, not us particularly, but as a group of vapors that are not able to control the sales, we're not able to control these people that set up these groups, we are losing the collective next generation of vapors to a bunch of idiots. People that are giving this stupid advice, selling these stupid products, non-compliant products, you know, stupidly underpriced products, and everyone suffers. We suffer as business owners, consumers suffer because the advice given out is idiotic, and I think in general we need to agree on a way to regulate everything that doesn't completely fuck us up. And
don't you think that's why that would be a good idea to have licensing for vape shops specifically and you have to take tests like when you get your bar license? You know, you literally have to take a test.
So what we're saying is a GMVQ in vaping then.
Do you know what, Mark?
No, not a qualification. Just
You've got the knowledge. You were a teacher for many, many years. You need to start up a course, buddy. This is how you're gonna. This is how you need to go forward. You need to teach Vaping 101. No, not advertising the website, but you need to teach Vaping 101 to this next generation of vapors because they're all fucking idiots.
put it this way, right? If you get a bar and you go into this bar and there's only 2 people on the counter or behind the bar, one of them's got a bar license. Imagine if you walked into a vape shop and you could know that that person had their license to sell and give advice on vaping.
But alcohol has been commercially available for hundreds. You could buy alcohol for hundreds of years. We're sort of 10, 12 years into a vaping lifespan. We don't know what the future's going to hold. But if it takes fucking 50 years for proper regulations to come in, like alcohol after the prohibition, then we're fucked. We can't wait that long to regulate this market. But at the same time, we need a branch of government to put the effort in that we've put in as interested, enthusiastic vapors to learn what they need to learn to regulate the market in a proper manner. And it's not going to happen.
As Paul just said, regulation is a good thing in some ways, but corruption can sneak in and fuck it all up. And I think that's a good place to end because we could go on for hours. I've set up a Hangouts link for tonight. I'm definitely going to be in it. I think there's a few people that
I'm going to come on for 10-15 minutes. It's been a while.
Yeah. I won't be in for too long.
Make your point in the Hangouts, Chandler.
I think this is something that we can revisit on another show, and I think it'd be good to get Paul from Labworks on from Australia, just so we can compare notes. And you know what, there's been a lot of mixed feelings in chat tonight. There's been a lot of people.
I love a healthy debate.
The thing is, if you gather any 2 people that are passionate about one subject, there's going to be a debate.
Absolutely. And as much as we don't want to do a mass debate on the YouTubes,
it'd be interesting if people want to join the Hangouts, even if it's just for 10 minutes, just to give us a bit of feedback so we can come next week with a collective opinion. It'd be really interesting.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, as soon as I've run the credits tonight, I'm gonna pop the link for the Hangouts in chat. So if you're waiting for the link, don't run off just yet. In fact, I'll dump it in there now.
I'll be running off as soon as the credits run.
All we'll hear is them listening to the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so links there. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a fantastic evening. Yeah, and we will see you next Tuesday. VTUK.